It's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, and of course, we've got another major update for you on this upcoming crippling winter storm, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the European model, which has been the MVP for this storm, in my opinion. This is what it's going to look like out there Saturday, January 24th at 1 a.m. We are going to be live on this channel, likely around this time. We're only going to be not live whenever I'm sleeping, pretty much, for the duration of this storm, but we're going to have heavy snow coming together in Kansas and a thin band of our mixed precipitation, including freezing rain, coming together over the Red River Valley. It does look like Dallas is going to start off as cold rain, but that will quickly transition into a freezing rain at some point in the future. And that's what we're about to find out as we pull this a couple hours forward. You can see that huge area of freezing rain expanding into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Also, our snow is becoming heavier on the backside from the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas into Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. I'm going to push this even farther into the future, and that first swath of significant heavy snow starts racing over past St. Louis into Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. We're going to get a thumping of snow in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Saturday evening, Louisville, Kentucky, up towards Indianapolis. But just to the south of that, we are going to have a devastating freezing rain event starting in West Tennessee, northern Mississippi, southern portions of Arkansas, and of course into northeast Texas and northern Louisiana. This is where I think the worst of the ice storm is going to happen. And it's not because of the intensity of the rainfall or anything like that. It's the duration. This area could see 12 hours or more of freezing rain, and that's not going to be good. Let's go ahead and push this even farther into the future, though, and you can see our second area of concern for our major ice storm really lighting up like a Christmas tree here on the Euro model around 10 a.m. on Sunday. That's going to be northeast Georgia, northwest South Carolina, the entire state of North Carolina pretty much, and also a lot of Virginia. On the southeast side of the Appalachian Mountains, where we have significant cold air damming, I think we're going to have a prolific ice storm down here as well. More than a half inch of ice is going to be possible in a short period of time. This will bring down a bunch of trees on those hills. They're going to crash into power lines, and we are going to lose power in a huge portion of this area, I believe. Notice the warm nose, okay? So our friends in Middle Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, a few days ago, these models were showing 2 feet of snow over here. And what did I say? I said, do not get attached to these models. Do not get emotionally involved. And unfortunately, I think a lot of you did. You open up my email inbox right now, and some people think that I'm in control of these models. And they are mad that their snow is not there anymore. It's not your snow, and it's not my model, right? These are prediction models. It's based off of a computer. And I told you, I was like, don't get too attached to this because, you know, stuff like this can change. We can have fluctuations like this. This was a pretty big one. Anytime that we have a storm that's 4 or 5 or 6 days out, you never really want to be in the bullseye if you want the snow. Even though we are getting closer to the storm starting and we have a much better idea of what's actually going to happen now, there will continue to be some shifts. In fact, some of the latest models that have just came in are a little bit south. So we had a big north shift, and now we're starting to see things correct back south a little bit. I don't know if that's going to bring snow back into East Tennessee, a significant amount of snow anyways. It is going to change things as we go into tomorrow, but we're starting to become a little bit more confident on exactly what's going to happen. Like, for example, the Northeast is now definitely in play. It's going to be tough figuring out exactly what happens in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, because as always, there's going to be some problems with the warm air there. But if you end up on the cold side, this is going to be the biggest snowstorm in DC and New Jersey in a decade. There's no doubt in my mind. There's some problems with icing and rain mixing in. I think that the interior Northeast, like Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, you guys are going to get a lot of snow out of this. I was a little bit skeptical on that yesterday, but now we have so much agreement, it's pretty much a shoo-in. And then this thing is finally going to be out of our hair on Monday night. As we go into Tuesday, we really won't have anything else to say about it other than, wow, it's cold. And wow, I've got a lot of snow to shovel. And wow, the power's out. Unfortunately, that's going to be a big problem. Okay, let's talk about the ice forecast. Once again, we have 2 big hot spots, in my opinion, that we've got to pay extra close attention to. That's going to be these 2 areas right here. Everywhere in between is still going to have some problems, but specifically in those 2 zones, I think we're going to have a catastrophic ice storm of historic proportions, and you need to start preparing now. If you haven't started preparing yet, up here in northern Louisiana, southern portions of Arkansas, even portions of west central and northern Mississippi, over into western Tennessee, maybe even into southern middle portions of Tennessee, you got to finalize your preparations today. It is almost too late. There will be lots of people in these zones that lose power, maybe for more than a week. Now, this is the National Blend of Models forecast for total ice accumulation. This is supposed to be a conservative forecast, right? This is supposed to be on the lower end. A lot of times, some of the models will show like crazy numbers, and you go to this to show something more realistic, but even this is showing crazy numbers. Close to an inch of ice accretion over here near the Mississippi River. I mean, that's just going to be devastating. Even 3/4 of an inch of ice, which is possible over here around Tupelo, is going to be devastating. We've got the NBM showing over a 1/2 inch of ice all the way up here into portions of Middle Tennessee, close to Nashville. It is possible that we see more than that. Once again, this is a conservative forecast that we're looking at here. So anywhere in the pink, you've got to be making preparations. You've got to be getting ready for days without power. Unfortunately, this is the reality of what we're about to go through. There will be some pockets, I think, over here in the Cumberland Plateau and a couple other places that will probably miss some of the significant icing impacts because the warm nose is going to infiltrate. But still, I'm in the pink zone up here. I'm not even in that dark of pink, but I am making sure the generator's ready, and you know, we went to Walmart yesterday. We did the whole thing. Okay, now let's talk about the snow. In my opinion, this is the fun part. Snow can still be dangerous, but it's not as dangerous or as life-threatening as ice and power outages and stuff like that. But before we get into this part of the forecast, we've got to shout out today's awesome sponsor, the people that are allowing myself and my team to literally dedicate our entire lives to this storm over the past 5 days and for the next 5 days. So shout out to our awesome sponsor. Look, nobody wants to be waiting around for their money, and traditional banking can be slow and full of hidden fees. That's why I think that today's sponsor, Current, is actually changing the game. Current is a banking app that is all about building the future of banking to work for you. They focus not just on helping you keep your money, but getting it faster. With Current's Build Card, you can build your credit by an average of 80 plus points in just 6 months. Not to mention, they can also get you your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Tight on cash? Not a problem. You can get fee-free overdraft up to $200 for new users. Or if you qualify, you can get up to $750 with the Paycheck Advance feature. And with Current, you get access to over 40,000 fee-free ATMs and in-store cash deposits. That's what makes me like Current. It's modern banking designed around the way that we actually live. So get Current today. Sign up at current.com/Ryan Hall and use my promo code Ryan Hall to get $50. And plus, you're going to unlock tools like Paycheck Advance, credit building, and more. Terms and conditions apply. A big thanks to Current for sponsoring today's video. I think a lot of you guys are going to like them. Let's get back into the forecast. All right, so this is the National Blend of Models. Once again, a conservative forecast for the most part. It's an average of a bunch of different models. So I think that we are good to go for 7 to 9 inches between Amarillo and Oklahoma City. There's going to be a couple places that get more than a foot over here. I think that the National Blend of Models is really underdoing this section right here. Like, there's going to be a band of higher snow totals that fall somewhere in that general zone, and the National Blend of Models is just not locking in just yet. There's too much discrepancy right now, and it's probably good that we're not highlighting that area too much because, once again, people will become emotionally involved, and if it shifts 50 miles to the north, I'll get a bunch of hate mail. So anyways, over here in Oklahoma and Kansas, I think we're a shoe-in for at least 8 inches of snow in Wichita. Kansas City might even get in on a decent amount of snow with this. I think that 3 to 6 inches of snow is a good call in Kansas City. The same could be said for St. Louis, but in a situation where the storm goes a little bit farther north, 8 inches is definitely on the table. I think that Jackson, Missouri is a shoe-in for 10 inches. Springfield, Missouri might even get in on close to 10 inches of snow. Now, notice the very sharp cutoff on the south side. This is where the ice starts cutting into our snow totals and sleet. It's possible that in Little Rock we only get 2 to 4 inches of snow, but also maybe 2 to 4 inches of sleet, and then maybe also a 1/2 inch of ice. That's going to be a mess. That's going to be a worse situation for the residents of Little Rock than a foot of snow. It's going to be harder to deal with. The same could be said for Memphis and maybe even Nashville. It's still showing 4 inches of snow possible in Nashville, but man, there's going to be a really tight cutoff here where that rain and that freezing rain and that sleet is going to cut down on totals. It is very possible that Nashville gets an inch or 2 and Clarksville, Tennessee gets 3 to 6 inches. That's how close of a cutoff we're going to have here. And it's those small details that we still don't know for sure. If this line right here shifts just 20 miles, that changes the forecast big time for a lot of people. So that's why we're going to go live tonight and answer questions with the new models. We're going to go live tomorrow. We're going to do more videos tomorrow. We're just going to keep relaying this stuff until the snow is done falling. Lexington still looks like close to a foot. Cincinnati, totals are up a little bit, close to a foot. Columbus, 10 inches. Dayton, 10 inches. Indianapolis, I think 6 to 9 inches is going to be possible up there. And then down here in my neck of the woods, unfortunately, I'm also in one of these places where 1 to 7 inches is going to be possible. And we've got that daggone warm nose, which is definitely going to bring some sleet and some snow into the picture. So this whole time we've been thinking, about 7 inches of snow is possible. That's still on the table. But man, this cutoff line is getting awfully close to Pikeville. And my son is here with me at the weather house today, and he's dying to give us his input on our snow here. What do you think about it?
5 inches.
5 inches? Are you happy with 5 inches?
No.
Do you want more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try to get some more for us, okay?
I need 10,000 cells.
So my son needs 10,000 snows, so we might have to borrow it from you guys up here in the Northeast, where we have a huge area that's likely going to see a pretty big snowstorm. Once again, if this pattern holds and we actually get 15 to 18 inches between Washington, D.C. and Boston, this is going to be the biggest snowstorm for a lot of you guys in like a decade. So I'm rooting for you if you want snow. If you don't want snow and we end up not getting it over here, that was all me. So either way, I win. No, but for real, I think that Richmond, you are getting closer to that warm line. I think that it's possible that we still get up to 9 inches of snow down here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit less than that. Washington, Hagerstown, Maryland, and Frederick, I think that you guys are a shoe-in for over a foot of snow. Same could be said for Harrisburg, Allentown, Scranton, maybe even Albany, Pittsfield. And then when we're talking about Boston, when we're talking about Plymouth, when we're talking about Hartford, New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, this is the hardest place on Earth to forecast for. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to go into it, but if you feel like the weatherman is always wrong and you live here, you are more right about that and you are more empowered to say that than anybody else, because it's true. The forecast models, the supercomputers, the experts, nobody really can get it right here because of all of the very interesting effects from the Atlantic Ocean, the Great Lakes, the high pressure systems from Canada, the Gulf moisture, the Appalachian Mountains. Like, it all comes together right here and makes it a daggone pain in my butt. But right now, it does look like a significant winter storm with mostly snow is on the way. And just for fun, let's take a look at the European AI ensemble, which in my opinion is a pretty good model, and it does a good job of narrowing down the corridor. Okay, so let me just quickly tell you what I'm talking about. This sharp cutoff is also very much more evident here, where we see maybe a foot of snow between Oklahoma City and Bentonville, but only an inch or 2 in Dallas, only 3 inches in Memphis, but 11 in Mountain Home. And you can see that there's a very clear hot spot here in the Ohio River Valley. The European AI model is showing a foot of snow in Lexington, Louisville, Maysville, Cincinnati, Columbus, 8 or 9 inches, Indianapolis, 8 or 9 inches. Still, we're right on that cutoff line here in Pikeville, Kentucky. Nashville, literally the south side of Nashville could get 1 inch of snow. The north side could get 3 or 4 inches. Clarksville could get 5. Bowling Green could get 7. That's how sharp of a cutoff we could have. And remember, that line can move south or north from here. And then I also think that this is a a more realistic look at what could happen in the Northeast as well, where we have the most significant snow totals a little bit inland, but we still get a decent thumping of snow in Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, up towards Boston. So this is a pretty good forecast. Tomorrow, we will have our final forecast. We'll pick one and be like, okay, this is the one that I think that if you're going to pick a number, pick this one. Okay, that's all the weather talk I have for you for now. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn notifications on because I'm going to have another video today. I'm also going to go live. In fact, I'm going to go live and you guys can watch me film this video or the next video, and then we'll do a Q&A thing after that. So subscribe, follow me on Facebook, TikTok, X, and all the other platforms as well. I'm putting out as much content as I possibly can. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.